Hey, Peace World, thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Jumping into some quick bite down boxing talk. Look, I don't have a whole lot to go into this fight, but it is fight week. I didn't want to totally ignore it. But, if you've seen the movie Rounders, the scene at the end where Kanish tells Mike that he's not going to give him any money to help him out because he warned him, and he said it wasn't going to do any good anyway. For me, that's kind of where I am with pay per view and kind of how pay per view is being used by Fox and by the PBC. And I'm not gonna try to go to war with City Hall and interject my personal views along all of those lines. I think for me, what's a deal breaker with this fight in terms of purchasing it is just the disrespect of including Sebastian Fundora against Jorge Cota as the co-main event. I've heard or listened to a couple of podcasts with guys overlooking that and selling themselves to buy the fight and to support the event. I have no problem with that. But I think, if you're going to ask people to dig into their pockets, you got to give them some value. And I also think if you're going to put, if you're running with Spence as being a pay-per-view star, a pay-per-view performer, a pound-for-pound guy, I would think that there's a certain level of expectation that you make an event around him that is just great value to your audience, to your customers and your consumers and whatnot. And I really don't think Fundora is there just yet. And what has Coda done? So that's for me. I don't see any purpose in it. And so let me get to the fight. First of all, I think it's I'm over the moon that Spence how he's appeared to look in the recent videos, working in pads, the media workout. I've seen a couple different clips of him here and there. I think it's dope that he's working the fight. I saw him on Sway in the morning. I believe he was on Brian Custer's podcast. He was on, I saw him like 4 or 5 places. And I didn't see this before the Porter fight. So I think he was on the at the fights on Sirius XM, the Monday and Friday night show with Randy Gordon and Jerry Cooney. He was on there. He's popped up on several things here on YouTube. So for him to be out, letting people know that he looks good and seems back to normal. I don't think we can say that medically going into this. I don't think there's any way to say that he's not what we knew him to be. But I will say, there's still I can't, because I was on a podcast last night. I was able to jump on the Urban Sports Scene podcast that streams live on Tuesday nights, and I went on there to talk about it. And it's hard to go on and say what you think is going to happen in this fight and pick a winner and to definitively say what you predict and feel good about your prediction, because you just don't know. I don't know. I'm sure the sparring that Spence has gone through, in preparation, I'm sure that they've tried to stress test where he is to the best of their capabilities. I'm sure, if anything happened that was serious, that his team would have spoken up and gotten involved, and said maybe this isn't such a good idea. So I'm not really gonna have any concerns in those regards going into the fight, but that doesn't mean that something could happen. Some lingering effects of that accident could become a factor. And I think that puts Danny Garcia in an interesting place, because if you recognize that this guy isn't what you thought he was, you recognize he can't get the gear that he needs to get to compete with you, you still got to do your job. What's good, man? Yeah, I mean, if I had to give a prediction, that's what it would be. But again, I just a year removed from that situation. I don't know. You know, there was some kind of head trauma. You know, there was some kind of some significant degree of injury, and you know, now it looks like it looks like the gutsiest thing that we've seen anybody do, to come back and face, you know, a guy the caliber of Danny Garcia. So like I said, everything points to this being just like any other fight. I have no problem with looking at it that way. And I hope that you know, I really hope that Sunday night, Sunday morning, that everybody just saw a regular fight, you know, and a good fight. But like I said, man, it's hard. I just listened to a podcast and I heard the conspiracy, not even a conspiracy, but just the school of thought that, you know, Spence could be cashing out in this fight. And the fact, I've mentioned this before, in the sport of boxing, you know, we don't really get access to great injury reports and real medical situations. You know, these guys have to protect their livelihood, and it leaves room for a situation like this where you can say that a guy isn't right. They know it. Is it a way to take down one nice purse before walking away? Like I said, I don't really, I can't really subscribe to that line of thought with this one. But anything is possible, man. I mean, it is interesting to come back against a Danny Garcia versus coming back, especially in COVID. He had every during the pandemic. He had every he would have been within reason to just get in, you know, a fight against a mandatory type opponent and go that route and then set up something big. But to come right back against Danny Garcia is, like I said, it's a gutsy thing, and it has to mean that he's good to go. So we'll see. But like I said, I can't jump on here and definitely say, back in last October or whatever when they made the fight, I probably was leaning towards knockout for Spence. Exactly. But like I said, knowing where we are now, him coming back, I think it's just going to be a really tough fight. And like I said, I think Derek James, definitely if he sees something in real time Saturday night that's concerning to him, I would imagine that they do the right thing. But like I said, I'm not really leaning in that direction. I don't think hopefully everybody involved has is thinking what's best for him. We already know some fighters will go out there and do some silly stuff. Wilder's talking about he wants to die in the ring. We see the criticism of the young boy from Saturday night with Dubois. He made his decision. We saw, in a way, him fight, another 10 rounds or whatever against Nonito Donaire with all of his injuries, broken nose and the orbital fracture, I believe. And he did what he did. So it comes down to each man. But like I said, man, I don't think the medical situation is going to be the story. And I'm hoping that's not going to be the story Saturday night. I'm looking at Spence by decision. Maybe unanimous, might be majority. But Danny, I think the one thing where he's very motivated is this probably is his last go. You don't want to, I think this is his third time up in this situation. You don't want to lose these opportunities. I don't know if he really has a truly significant win at welterweight just yet. This would give him that. So, but the one thing is this with Danny, all of the other good guys, the other contenders at welterweight, they already know what Danny's game is. They already know what his ceiling is. They know, they know, I mean, the formula to beat him is out there already. Sean Porter spoke about it when he, narrowly got by him. We saw how Keith Thurman, how he beat Danny. It's no secret. So this is his last chance to say that I'm not what you all thought I was, and to win as the underdog. And like I said, get that signature win at this division. So I expect him to be game, put forth a great effort. I just don't know with him continuing to only work with his father, which is a good thing in my opinion. Keep your team the same. It's not like he's lost any opponents that it's an embarrassing loss. Everybody he lost to, they were probably the favorite. Porter might not have been the favorite in that one going in, but that's who I picked to win that one. But like I said, I expect Danny to put a great effort forward. And I think the way that Spence fights is a good matchup for what Danny does well. It's just going to be a matter of how effective, how sharp Spence is. What fight does Spence choose? Does he move a little bit more than he normally does? Does he get into that body attack? Can he get in there and work without getting caught with something big? How much is ring rust, a factor early in the fight? So it's a couple of things there, but like I said, man, I'm going with Spence by decision. I'm not even gonna stay on here and bore anybody. The rest of the card, I wish they maybe, you would have thought a guy, maybe a Robert Easter could have got a look on a fight like this. It looks like he's gonna be shut down for all of 2020. I don't think he fought before the COVID situation. I don't think so. But I don't know. It was a number of different guys that we haven't seen. I would have thought a couple of them would have got some work in, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Josecito Lopez, he's going to do what he's going to do. We see what happens next with young Fundora. Like I said, he's not really on my radar as one to watch, especially in the division that he's in. Oh, for real? Okay. I didn't see that. But anyway, let me get on off of here, man. Enjoy the fight this weekend, whether you're streaming it, whether you're watching it on whatever, whether you're buying it. Enjoy it. I'm out. Bite down, boxer. Don't let them count you out. Could they scored a draw to save both fighters from a loss, or is Heyman and PDB done? Yeah, that's the question. I hate to get into the trying to create a narrative before the fight. I think it's two good welterweights, man. It's two fairly good welterweights. One guy with a very high ceiling, if he is what he was the last time we saw him. So I would imagine, if he does what he's supposed to do and what we know that he can do, I think, he just gets a fair decision. But I think with a lot of just like with the ring rust, I would expect Danny to get off to a bit of a better start and, make a good fight of it for himself. But I don't know, man. I don't see the PBC, the hidden hand, getting involved this Saturday. I think it's just a decision in Spence's favor, and we move on. I hope it's no BS. But anything's possible. It is boxing. Hey, let me get on out of here, man. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. When Danny last fight, I thought Danny fought. I thought it was inside of 2020. He had the Red Cash fight. I thought that was like, but damn, that would have had to been in January. That doesn't sound right. Did he keep that December date? I know he was well, yeah, they wanted him to go in January, I believe, was when him and Spence were originally supposed to fight. So I'm thinking mid-January might have been when it was. he complained that night about being a little out of shape and having to spend a lot of time in camp getting in shape, getting down to make weight and whatnot. So again, and that's the thing right now, we don't know how any of these guys, who the sparring is. I think nobody really mentioned that for Danny Jacobs last week, but I think he lives in Atlanta now. We're not really sure what he did for training camp. A lot of these guys, we don't know how a lot of these guys are getting prepared. The Nikita Bobby kid, a lot of these guys, especially the younger guys, are getting ready in their garage or working outdoors, getting in work. However, Danny and Red Cash. When was that, Eric? I'm thinking it might have been late January, mid-January. But a lot of these guys, and they don't show us, they don't show us where they're working out. But all states, don't have gyms open. I believe it's difficult to get into. Danny couldn't stop Red Cash. Yeah, I know. And he was catching Red Cash. I mean, hell, and he beat Red Cash. He beat him up for like 8 or 9 rounds and whatnot, and still didn't get him out of there. So I mentioned this on a previous video. It's crazy right now that in the welterweight division, one of our favorite divisions, one of the most followed divisions. It leads the way in boxing in a lot of ways. Hey, what's good, Corey? That we got a bunch of guys who really can basically just decision one another. It's nobody that's really knocking guys out right now in the division. And, for some people that might make the sport or make the division less exciting when there's not a guy, with that type of power. But everybody is kind of really grouped together right now. We saw that Spence only got the 1 knockdown against Porter. What's good, Fink? So that's just different right now. I mean, in most divisions, we've seen guys get stopped at super welterweight and at super lightweight. But like I said, all of the good guys here at welterweight, they're pretty much going to the cards. That's one thing that's a little bit more exciting with Virgil Ortiz Jr. coming up, and Jaron Ennis looks like a dude with some pretty good power and a lot of different ways to deliver that power. But he doesn't get a shot at Terrence Crawford or Spence or none of those guys before they get on to do something different. Whether they go up or whether Terrence Crawford retires, there's no way in hell he faces Boots. So that's that. But in Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz Jr., like I said, he's what? 14, 15-0 with, I think maybe he stopped everybody. Only went to a decision one time. But as those guys get to facing, exactly. I definitely, like I said, I got to tip my cap to Spence. It makes it hard to read what's going on here, though, because might have replacement fight. I heard Delorme, I guess, tested twice. That kind of pisses me off because I don't really want to see Jaron Ennis overrated for stopping Glass, Chin Khan, and shot Lucas Matisse. Yeah. Okay, Virgil Ortiz is 16. But once you go up against the elite, we don't see that type of we just don't see the knockouts at welterweight, was what I was getting at. But look, my lunch is over. There's a little afternoon wood I was jumping in with. Here comes. Let me get on out of here. Y'all have a great day, man. Enjoy the week. Peace.